garden friends. Welcome back. My name is Dee, and today we're going to do some garden maintenance. It has been a little bit since I did any true garden maintenance. I've been pretty busy. You saw my last two videos. We were traveling a little bit, went back east, but now we're home. And the weather has become warm. While we were gone, we got up into, I think, 101. This week, we're staying relatively cool. It's been around 90 most days. But I have some crops in my garden that do not like that kind of heat. Specifically, this guy here. This is all my kale. And I don't know if you can see it, probably not. There are aphids all over this kale. And it's smelling pretty bad. So I want to harvest that, which means the chickens get some food today. They get a nice little treat, get all that extra protein, and then they get the greens from the kale. I'm a little concerned about it because I'm starting to get aphids on these onions that I planted as well. So I'm going to have to pull all these out, dispose of them, rinse all the aphids off, and then, yeah, amend the soil and plant something else. But before we do that, because usually I do it every fall and every spring, I need to get the chicken coop in order. Now that it's warmer, we're getting a bunch of algae and all the watering. I need to shovel out the last 6 months worth of manure, start composting it, need to refresh the bedding, all the things need to get done. So we're going to start with that today. And I'm sure they'll be very happy about it. So let's go take an assessment of what's going on. I realize I've never actually introduced you to the chickens, so let's cut and do that now. So now that introductions are out of the way, this is kind of the state of things in here. So you can see we've got a bunch of branches and stuff down here. This is all stuff from previous food treats given to them. We're getting some algae in here. I hung the bucket not that long ago because I kept knocking it all over. But this is an automatic waterer. Well, it's not automatic, but I hooked it to my irrigation system so it would fill automatically. They've got their little laying house up in there that clearly needs a refresh. All that straw is looking pretty rough. So yeah, we're gonna get in here and we're gonna rake this out. But I just realized I don't have any shavings to put in there. I've got the straw, but it's looking a little moldy, and I've used it to do a lot of amendments in the beds. So I think I'm gonna have to run to the kind of stock up on a few things. So I'll touch base with you in a minute. So I went to the feed store. I got the shavings. But I did a thing. I couldn't resist. I've been wanting to refresh the flock for a little bit now. My girls are coming up on 4 years old, so they're slowing down a little bit in their egg production. So my coop cleanup just became kind of a coop revamp so that we can accommodate 7 total instead of 3. All right. So I've got some decent square footage here. I made this thing a couple years ago. It's about 8 foot by 8 foot, and it's just about 6 foot tall, so I don't bang my head every time I go in there. Yep, there's new babies. I've never been crazy about this. It opens from the top, lets me get the eggs, but it's always felt a little undersized for the chickens. So I built that chicken coop in North Carolina, and I was pretty struck with the the laying house, you know, and the roost combination. And it was kind of eye-opening because of how tall it is. So I've been thinking, what if I build an external one right here? I don't know if that's approval or not. I think I'm going to build this like a external chicken house here with like a door that opens because I'm tired of getting chicken poop on my shoes. And then it would open up a fair amount of floor space, and then we could put some, you know, perches in here. I've got a bunch of extra branches and wood and stuff. So this project got a lot bigger, so I'm going to get to work. Alright, so first things first, I want to get all this kale out of here. Got to protect the crops for the next season first. There are so many aphids in here. It is time for the kale to go. Alright, wanted to show you this. Oh man, look at all that on the other side of that leaf. So this is where I ripped all the plants out, and all this white are actually aphids. I don't think you can really see them. I got them, they're all over my arms. Gardening is definitely not for the super squeamish. But yeah, the concern is they're starting to jump to the other plants, which, you know, that's on me. I should have taken care of this a couple weeks ago when I knew that this was coming. So you'll live and learn. All right, on to the next task.
A few moments later.
I have this old baby gate that I use specifically for this purpose. I'm going to take them out of there, put them in here, cover them with that, because up there we get hawks and owls, and they're always dive bombing the yard trying to get stuff. So we're going to protect the chickens the best we can. All right, now I'm going to go chase a chicken like a crazy person.
One eternity later.
Little progress update. Got in here, I've raked it out, I've tilled up some of the soil, but I've still got more to do. But I disassembled the mic died, but I disassembled the old egg box, and this is the platform from that. I've got this other piece, and I'm going to double it in size and then attach it to the bracing on the outside of the chicken coop. All right, I think we're just about there. Sorry, I kind of got in the zone and forgot to do much recording, but we got the egg box here. I gotta still fill this in with some little sectionals, even though if you have chickens, you know they're all gonna lay in the same one anyway. But yeah, so a little makeshift lock here. So yeah, and I have to put some roosts up going across here. But yeah. And then cleaning all my stuff up, which is probably going to take longer than building this whole thing. So yeah. And then I've got to paint it, make it look pretty. But I don't think I'm going to do that in this video. But I don't want it looking funky. I want it looking pretty. So I'm going to clean up now. I'll be back. All right, and just like that, I'm going to call this project done. Again, I got carried away and started doing things off camera, so I'm going to turn you around and we can have a look. So we've got baby chicken food, grown-up chicken food, shavings. They all fit down in there like I planned it. I promise I didn't. Just sometimes you get lucky. The inside's nice. The water buckets are all cleaned up. I broke this one. The plastic got real brittle in the Arizona sun, but what are you going to do? It's the cost of living in the desert. So now all we have to do is wait for some eggs. My neighbor's over on his roof working on his cooler, just laughing at the weird stuff going on over here.
What the hell?
All right, so let's put these chicks away. I got them some new shavings, refreshed their water, refreshed their food. It started getting real wet in here because if you have baby chicks, they will kick everything over. They will knock the water over. It doesn't matter how big or heavy it is. And with the heat source I have in here, it actually started to smell a little like a petri dish. So didn't want anything culturing in here, so I'll clean this whole thing out, give them some fresh stuff. I will say I have one of these chicken brooders from Fuzzy Bird. I love it. I'll drop a link in the description below. It doesn't put out too much heat. The chickens love it. Makes them feel safe and they go under there. So I highly recommend. I wanted to give details about this whole project. So the wood cost me nothing. A friend of mine had a bunch of extra wood from a project a couple of years ago that was sitting in their side yard. I told them I'd take it. They were more than happy to get rid of it. All the screws were from previous projects. I always save my screws. I always save my washers. I save everything. I'm not building a residential house. It just has to stand up to chickens and keep predators out. So I'm not worried about new hardware. Wow, that one didn't want to go. Calm down. The corrugated metal I had from a previous project. The tar paper I had from a previous project. So really the cost for me was just time. Everything else I had. I think a lot of people are concerned because they don't know how to do this. They feel like it's going to cost them a lot of money. They feel like they can't do it. Just do it. If you want to do a project, if you want to build a chicken coop, if you want to build a shed, do a little bit of research on the internet and just do it. What have you got to lose? If it doesn't come out, well, you've learned something. You've learned what doesn't work. So it's really important to keep trying, keep going, never give up. And yeah, your life will be better at the end of it. You guys are so crazy. And with that, I'm going to finish it up. I appreciate you guys spending your time with me. Hope you got some information. Hope you laughed. Hope you felt inspired. And until I see you next time, get out in the garden. Go do something. Bye. Thanks for hanging out. If you enjoyed what I'm doing, please give me a like, subscribe, or comment just to say hi. Thanks again.